Okay, let's continue working on our fraction class. We are in the main program. We have written one of 4 arithmetic operations. We did the times. Let's do divided by, because so I can get rid of this here. I've got 1 up above. So let's do divided by, because with fractions, unlike integers, division and multiplication are easier to do than addition and subtraction. So I didn't really want to delete that. I want to use it next time. So let's go over to fraction here, and let's just kind of put all of our arithmetic operators together. Okay, so let's do divided by. It's going to return a fraction. We're going to pass in another fraction to divide by. Call it other again. And this is going to look an awful lot like this one, so I'm going to copy it and paste it in. So I need a brand new fraction to store my result. I am not going to change the invoking fraction, which is, this dot A and this dot B. And I'm not going to change the one that's passed in as the divisor, the other fraction. So I create a new one. This declares it and allocates memory for it. So I've got a place to put its A value and its B value. And the rule for division is you invert the divisor, which is other, and then you multiply. So I want to take my numerator times the denominator of b, and I want to take my denominator times the numerator of b, and then return my result. So let's flip back over here, and let's do, so I've got a divided by option here. And let's see what we want to do with that. What is, let's just, before we get here, let's just, we don't need this anymore. Let's put some new values in for a. So a equals new fraction, and we're going to set it equal to 1, to 1/2. And then b, we'll do a new fraction, 1, 4. And so we're going to divide 1/2 by 1/4, and we should get the answer 2. And I am going to put C in there, and then when we get done, we'll do 3 more right lines again. I'm going to have to change some variable names here, but so after we do the division, okay. After we do the division, we want to print out what A is, which should be 1/2, what B is, which should be 1/4, and what C is, which should be 2. Oh, sorry. Don't write the answer, write the value. And that should be 2/1, because everything's going to be represented as a fraction, even if it turns out to be a whole number. So let's go ahead and run the program. So we should get 1/2, 1/4, and 2 at the end of our output here. So we're only going to look at the last 3 lines, 1/2, 1/4, and 2, but we get 4/2 because it is not reducing itself. There's no place in there where we take care of any reducing of fractions. But that is the correct answer. Okay, we also have some other arithmetic operations. We have addition, which I have right here. Let's cut that out, and we'll paste it in down here. We'll clean up here a little bit. Okay, so now let's go write an addition function. and we'll keep it here with the other arithmetic operators, and it's going to be public. It's going to also return a fraction, and it's going to be plus, so that reads better when you're reading it than addition. So we're going to pass in another fraction, and again, to save myself some typing here, I'm going to copy this and paste it in down here. Okay. So, well, that's interesting. Why is it doing that? I don't know, except I do know that sometimes, there we go, sometimes the editor flags something incorrectly for a few seconds and then it fixes it. So that's just a problem with our editor apparently. So to do addition, you have to find a common denominator, and the easy way to do addition is to take the numerator of this times the denominator of other, and then take the numerator of other times the denominator of this, add those two together, and that will be your new numerator. Okay? And the denominator then will be the product of the two. So this is going to be, I said take the numerator of this times the denominator of the other one, and then add the numerator of the other one and multiplied by the denominator of the invoking function of this. And b is going to be this dot b times other dot b. And then we want to return the result. Okay, and this will frequently give us a fraction that is not reduced again, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that yet. So let's do some addition here. I've got 1/2 and 1/4, and I'm not changing them, so I don't need to do any new assignment statements here. I don't want to change a again. I'm going to do c as my result, and I want to do a plus b. Okay, so if I want to do a plus b, I should get 3/4. What I am probably going to get is going to be 6/8, which is the same thing. So let's go down here, and so my output should be 1/2, 1/4, and 3/4 or 6/8. So let's go ahead and run that. And 1/2, 1/4, and 6/8. Okay. Subtraction, let's flip over here and write minus, and this is going to be the easiest one of all to write because it is exactly the same as plus, except we subtract these. So now if we flip back over to our main program, and we want to do these 3 lines again, we'll copy them and we'll paste them in. The only thing we need to change is change the plus to a minus. So if a is 1/2 and b is 1/4, and I subtract them, I should get 1/4 for an answer. I will probably get 2/8 for an answer instead. One-half, 1/4, and 2/8. Okay, so we have done all 4 arithmetic operators in our fraction class, and that was pretty straightforward. We also need to do some relational operators. And we are going to, rather than use words, we're going to use some abbreviations. We're going to use EQ for equal, NE for not equal. We're going to use GT for greater than, GE for greater than or equal, LT for less than, and LE for less than or equal. Okay. So we're going to have to write 6 functions, and let's start off with the equal function. And these are all going to return bools. And we're going to pass in another fraction, and we want to see if the 2 fractions are equal. So two fractions, there's two ways to interpret this actually. Do you want to know if they are precisely equal, they have the same numerator and the same denominator, so 1/2 would only be equal to 1/2, or do you want them to be equal if their values are the same? So if 1/2 is one of them and 2/4 is the other one, then we return true. So we'll come back and talk about that later. For right now, let's do the simple one. Just check to see if the numerators are equal and the denominators are equal. So I can do that with one return statement instead of actually going through an if. So I want to return true if this dot A is equal to other dot A and this dot B is equal to other dot B. So are the numerators equal and the denominators equal? And if both of these are true and they're connected by and, then the result of the entire expression will be true, and that's what gets returned. If either one of these is false or both of them are false, then when I and them together, I'll get false for an answer, and I will return false. So that is about as simple as you can get. Now let's do not equal. And we're going to send in a fraction. Now this is the opposite of the equal function, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to save ourselves a little bit of coding. We're going to return not, and then we're going to call EQ, and we're going to pass in other. And it will compare this dot A with other dot A and this dot B with other dot B. And if this returns true, we're putting a not in front of it, so it'll return false. And if this returns false, we're putting a not in it over here, so it'll return true. Okay. Now let's do greater than. So public bool, going to pass in another fraction. And we want to return true if this is greater than other. And we're going to cheat a little bit here. We're going to do this. We are going to convert them to doubles. So let's do, let me see, we'll call them x and y. So double x equals, this will be the first one, double of this, whoops, I got my parentheses in the wrong place here. So that will convert A into a fraction, into a double, and then it'll divide by B, and that will give me a double for an answer. Be very careful that you do not accidentally put the parentheses around the whole thing here. If you put the parentheses around the whole thing, then it'll do integer division first, and if it's a proper fraction, you will always get 0 as a result of that. So we'll convert them both to doubles, and then if x is greater than, x is basically the value of this, so we want to return x is greater than y. We also want to write a Boolean function greater than or equal. I'm going to pass in a fraction. And what I want to do is, I've already got one called equal, I've got one called greater than. So I can just do return EQ, so it's greater than or equal, or So I'm making use of code that I've already written. Now I have to do a less than. So public bool less than. I'm going to pass in a fraction. And less than is the opposite of greater than or equal to. So again, I can just do return not greater than or equal to. And then the last one is less than or equal to. And less than or equal to is the opposite of greater than, so I can simply return so I really only had to write code for equal and greater than, and then in the other 4 of the 6, I just referred to these 2. So you can build off of code that you've already written. So now let's go back to our main program here, and we need to test some of this out. So let's do console.writeLine, and A and B are still going to be, what is the problem here? Oh, it's a lowercase l. That's the problem here. So I want to know if A is greater than B, and I should get true for that, and I did not do change that to a capital. Okay. And then I want to do the same thing, a bunch of times. And I want to do equal, not equal, greater than or equal, less than, and less than or equal. And I should get false, true, 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 false, false. Okay, false, true, 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 false, false. So let's run it. False, true, 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 false, true, 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 false, false. And so that appears to be working. Okay, this is getting kind of long, so we'll stop the video here and we'll continue with our fraction class in the next video.